What's going on, guys? This is the Gastric Life Podcast, and I'm your host, James Pugh. Pew, 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 pew. Now, first things first is this. We need to do a quick adjustment down here. So, how are we doing, guys? I'm back with another podcast today. So, for you guys that don't know, my name is James Pugh. I am a gastric patient. I had gastric surgery back in 2022, May 9th. And since then, I've lost a total of 135 pounds, not 175. That's been a lot more, which means 135 is pretty good too, right? But I have lost 135 pounds. I lost 75 pounds before surgery, and I am just super excited to be here with you guys today. I hope that you all are having a great weekend. I hope that, you've had a great Sunday. Maybe you've gone to the beach. Maybe you got up and went to church. Maybe you're just out there doing some smoking like I'm doing. I have a Boston butt on the smoker right now. It's not for me. For my neighbor. My neighbor always helps me out across the street, so I wanted to do something special for him. So I literally am smoking a 5-pound Boston butt, and I'm going to take it over there to him with some Hawaiian rolls from Publix, the best, of course, and give them to him. And that way him and his wife can kick back and enjoy dinner and not have to worry about it. So I want to talk to you guys about what happens when you become too comfortable in your eating habits. What happens when you think that you're good, right? Like you've been putting in the work, and you've kind of maybe you've putting your feet up a little bit, and now you're in a little bit of a relax mode. So I want to talk to you about that, and I can only talk to you about that by talking about me, because that's where I am, and that's where I was. Some things are possibly about to change. You'll get to hear about them. I love to talk about my failures. I love to talk about where I struggle at the most on this podcast, because I feel like if I do that, then you guys are going to relate better, right? Because you don't want someone on here just telling you what you need to do to get healthy, what you need to do to lose weight, what you need to do to stay on track. Like, I'm going to go, hey, this is what I did, and this is where I'm failing at, or this is where I'm struggling at, and this is what I'm going to do to try to pull myself out of the ruts, weeds. That's a better one. The weeds, going a little bit cooking on y'all, a little Gordon Ramsay there, and get better. So before I get started, I do have to I put this out there in every podcast now. I'm not a doctor or physician, a nutritionist, or a fitness advisor, or a coach even. I have, have experience in it. I've been doing it long enough now, and I just like to put stuff out there for you guys to maybe be able to help you out on your journey along the way, things that I've gone through that you may be able to relate to. So always, always, always go and check with your physician before you take anything I say to the bank, because at the end of the day, I am human after all. Now, with that being said, let me know where you're watching out of. If you're watching live, by the way, if you're listening to this back on recording or watching this on YouTube, I am live on Facebook. This is how I do these podcasts. As of now, we are switching things up, doing different things and stuff. So if you want to come by and say hi, ask Q&A, because I always stick around, do some Q&A, talk with some people, get to know you a little bit more intimately and stuff. And also, we'll be doing a Patreon here soon, and we're going to be doing a lot of fun things on there, talking about like live cooking events and stuff like that, because a lot of people like to ask me how I made something and what the recipe is. So I figured, well, I'll do all that on Patreon, and be something there, and go live and do some live events there, and maybe not be so politically correct over there. You can't just say what you're feeling over here or any other of these other social platforms. You could get canceled real quick. So over there, I'd be a little bit more loose probably, and just you get to know me a little bit more personally. But with all that being said, I do want to hop into the podcast and get into what we're talking about today, which is what happens when I become too comfortable, or what happened when I became too comfortable in eating, and what am I doing about it now? So before I can do that, we got to talk about why and how I got to this point. All right. So what I like to do is this. I was tracking my food religiously, pretty much, since after surgery. And when I say religiously, what I mean is I would eat a lot of the same stuff throughout the week, right? Like I would go and get a watermelon and cut it up and then section it throughout the week, or any kind of melon, or, bananas, or, something like that, section it throughout the week. And then I would, know what I was going to eat for the week because I would add it up once, measure it out, weigh it out, all that, and then I can put it all in my tracker for the week. And I did a lot of the same dinners, a lot of the same foods. So it was pretty easy to honestly track my foods. I did not turn off my AC. I wonder if y'all can hear that. Let me turn that off real quick. Man, if I go and edit this and all I hear is in the background, I'm going to be pretty irritated because we're going to leave it in there. Yeah, definitely going to leave it in there. But when it came to like tracking food and stuff, I was pretty good at it. Like, I didn't track during the weekend, to be honest with you, because I tracked so good. Like, I knew I was between 16 and 2,000 calories each and every single day. That was my max, was 2,000 calories. And I was always right around 100 grams of protein, always right around 100 grams of carbs even. And I was told by my nutritionist, before you asked me, well, why are you doing 100 grams of carbs? I was told to go up to 100 grams of carbs and 100 grams of protein because of I was having some muscle deficiency issues and, losing muscle mass and stuff like that. Because I mean, it's normal though, right? I've lost 200 pounds, over 200 pounds. I'm actually like 210 now. I'm 198. I'm sticking around between the 198 and 202 area. So I've lost 210 pounds in total now. And it's just natural to lose that much weight to start losing muscle mass and stuff. So my diet is a little bit different than other people's diet. And matter of fact, I need to get back with my nutritionist because of my appetite and stuff changing, which we're about to find out here in a second what I'm talking about. But I did the same thing over and over and over again. I got comfortable. Like, I got comfortable to knowing what I was putting in my body. I got comfortable with being like, yeah, I'm good. And what happened was I started to get too comfortable. And what I mean is, I thought I was eating the same thing each and every single day, right? I thought I was going and doing the same exact thing every single day. And one of the things that I had to do was step back and I take evaluation of myself. I do this from time to time. I think this is a very important thing for people to do from time to time is step back, take a little bit of an evaluation of yourself and see if you're where you're supposed to be. The reason being is because a lot of times you might be shocked on where you actually are and where you thought you were. And I think that's exactly what happened to me. So this past week, because I kind of had a different plan for a podcast, honestly. Like the next podcast is going to be on embracing the suck. That's going to be an awesome way. I'm super excited about that one because I'm very passionate about that. So you're going to get to see a lot of preachy James probably in that one and like just getting super excited and stuff when I talk. But I wanted to change it up this week just because I track my stuff. I tracked my stuff for the week, and what happened was I decided that I was not where I was supposed to be on calories. I was not where I was supposed to be on protein. I was not where I was supposed to be on carbs. I was actually well past what I thought I had been at. Like, remember I told you at the beginning, I was always between 1,600 and 2,000 calories each and every single day. And I was always between like, say 100 and 115 grams of protein, and also the same with carbs. Well, this week, I decided to count it all to do an inventory of where I am at with my health and stuff. And holy moly, was I off. I got comfortable in knowing or thinking I knew where I was with my health, as in eating wise and stuff, because I always eat the same thing. But what I didn't take in consideration is my appetite is changing because I'm healing more and more and more. Pretty much I'm 100% healed now. So my stomach has gotten more to the normal spot. Some people, when we go through surgery, a lot of people don't know this. Just say hi, no to pumpkin spice. Just say no to pumpkin spice. Oh, what's up, Daniel? Thank you for showing up and saying hi to me. I usually don't do that right in the middle, but Daniel Wilbanks is a podcaster from Extraordinary Dad, and his podcast is amazing. You should go check him out. A little shout out for you guys out there that are listening across platforms and looking at me on YouTube right now. But I totally lost my spot, and it's all Wilbanks' fault. Thank you very much. I should have just not looked at that and looked at that in a minute, but it is what it is. But once you get out of surgery, your stomach is this big, right? But it doesn't stay this big. Like a lot of people are like, wait, your stomach is the size of your thumb. Yes, yes, it comes out the size of your thumb right after surgery. And over the year you heal. It takes about a year for your inside to actually heal 100%. I'm 16 months out pretty much now, so I'm healed 100%. So my stomach has stretched out somewhat. You just stretch out. Your sleeve doesn't allow it to ever get to where it was unless you just really, really, really just force it. And so I don't ever force eat. Like when I'm full pretty much, other than like the every now and again we talked about last week on the podcast. But I do have a bigger appetite now. But I didn't think about it because I was eating the same foods as always. Like I always eat the same foods throughout the week. So I really didn't think nothing about it. And then I decided to do inventory on myself and start counting everything this week. And well, when I did, I realized that I was way off. And what I mean is, I'm not going to go through my entire week with you guys. I'm going to give you my worst day. I'm going to give you my worst day. And for me to do that, I want to pull it up so I get it 100% accurate. Take a sip. Not sponsored. Wouldn't mind being sponsored. All right. So my worst day was August 23rd, which I think was Wednesday. What's today, 27th? So yeah, I think it was Wednesday. I will tell you what my intake was, as in protein, carbs, and calories, and then I'll tell you what I ate for the day, which I did. Yeah, it was Wednesday because of salmon. Okay, so calorie wise, now when I first started, remember I said I'm always between 1,600 and 2,000 calories. 2,000 is my tops. Like I don't never go over 2,000 calories normally. Calorie wise was 2,538 calories for the day. That's a lot for me. Like I don't normally eat that much. Well, I didn't think anyways, right? Protein was 137. That's actually wasn't too bad. Protein-wise, I can live with that. I actually probably need to go up because of building muscle mass and stuff like that, but that's another conversation for another day because of the nutritionist. I want to sit with her and make sure that that's something I'm supposed to be doing. This is where the number comes in, the big number, the carbs. 260 net. It was 285 gross. Holy moly. Now I will say that was the highest grams by a lot any day. Now, let me tell you what I ate that day. Because this is for dinner or breakfast, my days are backwards. So I eat this every week. Usually Mondays, we're kind of switching things up because I have the life group on Mondays now for right around dinner time. So usually do salmon on Mondays, but we're doing it Wednesday right now. So I did 3.9 ounces of salmon and I did a Caribbean rice for a side. I usually do jambalaya rice, but I did Caribbean rice. But man, 3.7 ounces of rice is 75 grams of carbs. Like, holy moly. Are you kidding me? All right, so for lunch, I do the same thing every single day. I do a protein shake, so almond milk with a protein shake, no biggie. And then in the morning when I got home, I had 3.7 ounces of salmon again, some more rice, which is a no-no. That's why I had so many grams. I did another 3 ounces of rice, which is another 75 grams of carbs. But I also had a roll on top of that. So I had a lot of carbs for what you call it. But I also had a pumpkin spice cookie because they're in season, and that's why Daniel told me to say no to pumpkin spice anything because I am in love with pumpkins. Yes, I'm one of those people. Listen, I know you have the people that either love it or hate it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I will have a pumpkin spice latte any day of the week. No, not a latte. I'm a cold coffee kind of person, so it has to be iced or something like that. Cold brew, pumpkin cream cold brew with extra foam. Let's go. 250 calories, by the way. I already know what it is and stuff because I try to fit it in if I can, which I normally do. But anyways, in the truck. So yeah, I had that, and then I had a peanut butter flavor protein cookie. I had some M&Ms that were the Atkins M&Ms. I have those every night. They're 130 calories. I had some peanuts. I had my coffee. I had beef jerky, and I had a Atkins peanut butter cup. I had a lot of food that day, I feel like, now that I'm looking back at all of it. But the reason why I'm reading you this is because if you don't step back, hey, I just got a follow on YouTube. Oh, on YouTube? I'm not even live on YouTube. Cool. if you don't step back every now and again and take inventory of yourself and where you are on your journey, when you start to get comfortable, what will happen is you'll get to the point where you get comfortable enough to where you're not looking at anything. And then bad habits will slowly introduce themselves back to you. As you can see, like I just talked about, a couple things where I could have substituted those out for other things. I mean, pumpkin spice cookie, I had one. So I'm not, you guys know I don't preach, you can't never have anything. But my point is, if I didn't step back and look at myself and say, oh, let me see where I'm at on protein and intakes and all this for the week, I would have never known that I'm way higher than I normally am, and I wouldn't be able to adjust for it. And so what happens is if you get too comfortable with this and you start to allow these things to slowly mold you over time and you either ignore them or you just don't care, things start happening to your body. And what happens is all that hard work, all that hard work that you put into to get where you are, guys, like, if anybody can tell you how much hard work it is, it's definitely me, right? Like, I just had a conversation the other day with somebody, I'm not gonna mention the name, but they asked me if I felt like what I did was the easy way out. They said, well, do you feel like what you did was the easy way out? Because like a lot of people are posting about how they were able to do this without surgery, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, no, not by any stretch of the imagination. I would say what I did was harder because of all the hurt I had to go through for the surgery, the liquid diets I had to go on, the no eating food for 2.5 weeks, pretty much I had to go on. And there's a lot of people that have to do it even longer than that, right? I got lucky. I only had to do a 1 week pre-op and then a week and a half or something like that post-op. So like 2.5 weeks tops. There's people out there that can't eat for like a month, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after surgery. And then they still struggle after that. And then not to mention you have to take vitamins. Like, you're a bariatric patient now, so you're not getting the vitamins you're supposed to get. So you got to be on these special vitamins. And then you have to like do certain things you can't eat no more. Like, it's super hard. Like, I know it's super hard because I've done it, right? Like, I didn't lose 130 pounds just because of surgery. I lost 130 pounds because of hard work and dedication, and the surgery is part of it. The surgery, like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, the surgery helps a lot, right? Like, when you come out of surgery with a stomach that big, it's impossible not to lose weight. I tell people this all the time. Like, you're going to lose weight, but it's not impossible not to put weight back on after surgery either. You can lose weight for a couple months and then all of a sudden just put it right back on because you're not eating the things you're supposed to be eating in the first place. So this isn't easy. So I don't want to ever have to like feel like I'm going backwards and falling into a pit because I got too comfortable with the way I ate or the way I looked. Like think about it for a second. I'm getting excited, guys. Think about it for a second. I preach now that I feel like I look great. Don't I? I talk about muscles coming. I'm talking about how I'm in 36s. I'm talking about how I can look in the mirror confidently and stuff. If I allow that to run me and never take a step back and evaluate myself to see where I'm actually at, all that hard work I did to put in to get to this point is slowly going to start fading away. And what happens is the old habits start to introduce themselves. And when they introduce themselves, and then it's too late when you finally find them or see them happening. Because at that point, they're already back in and they're already infiltrated your mind and soul again. And then you're going to be right back where you were at the beginning trying to kick these bad habits. Man, that's some food for thought. I didn't even have none of that written down. That's just coming to me. Like, you get comfortable, all the hard work you put in, and then it goes away because you get too comfortable. You get too comfortable because of all the weight lost. You get too comfortable because of all the non-scale victories you see. You get too comfortable because of all the smaller clothes you've put on and stuff. And then eventually you get too comfortable. You get so comfortable, you just don't pay attention anymore. So today I want you to realize that I want you to feel like you've beaten this, that you're on top of the world. I want you to be excited about losing weight. I want you to get excited about losing weight. If you're listening, you haven't went through the journey, or you're listening, or you're thinking about going through the journey, I want you to get excited. I want you to reward yourself with victories. I want you to talk about your victories. I don't want you to hide your victories. I want you to scream them from a mountaintop like I do, pretty much, right? Like I'll post pictures and get on here and brag because I feel like you should. It's a big deal going through this. It's a big deal losing all this weight. It's a big deal getting healthy. It's a big deal. This is what I told that person that asked me all these questions. Well, asked me a couple questions. And it was just a conversation. They were just literally asking because they see people talk about it online. So no harm will towards them or anything like that. But my simple thing was this. If a person found out they're about to die and they would go through surgery to save themselves, what's the difference? I was 400 pounds. I could have fell over in a cardiac arrest any day. I was proactive and did something that literally saved my life. So is this easier? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Did this save my life? Absolutely. I think so. I think absolutely it saved my life. I talked about a couple things on what what happens when you get comfortable, right? What can happen? You lose self-motivation. You start introducing bad habits. You start getting out of control. Your eating habits start to slowly change, and eventually you can get to where you were, or to a point to where you're going again. And sometimes it can be too late because you never self-reflected, and those bad habits have introduced themselves and they've rerouted themselves. Because think about this, something else that just came to me. And if you're watching live, feel free to put what you think in the chat, what I'm talking about in the chat. Love to talk about it. And again, afterwards, we're going to be hanging out for live Q&A. So make sure you stick around for that. So how do you keep from getting to that point where you're too comfortable and you start to slip back into bad habits and stuff? Well, self-reflection, right? Like that's what I talked about my entire time. Like literally stepping back and doing a self-reflection. Like literally, like honestly, I shouldn't be like going weeks and months, or weeks, really, like several weeks, maybe a month, without counting calories and stuff, because that's just too long. But I realized when I stepped back and kind of looked at myself and did a little bit of a reflection on myself, I realized that I felt like I was eating more food. See, I was being honest with myself and was like, man, I think I need to count my calories. I think I need to step back and see if I'm still where I need to be. And when I did that, we saw from my notes that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. So stepping back and doing self-reflection is the first thing that you have to do. And you have to be honest with yourself about this, because it doesn't matter if you step back. This is why it's important to actually write your stuff down. Me and a buddy of mine, we're talking about this, and it's so funny because before I really got into the health thing a lot and started to really take it seriously, I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was eating. I thought I knew what my calorie intake was. I thought I knew what, I was like, oh yeah, I'm right around this. And when I finally did it, I was like, holy moly, I'm way off. Man, I thought I was good. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was eating, but in all actuality, I didn't. And it was like this time too. I thought I knew what I was eating. I thought I knew what I was putting in my body until I actually kept track for the last week and realized, man, I'm eating a lot more calories and a lot more carbs, and protein I'm not mad about because I need more protein anyways. But I felt like, holy moly, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And I was able to be honest with myself with that, because if I wouldn't have been honest with myself about that, what would have happened is I would have maybe stepped back for a minute and took a little bit of a reflection of myself and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe because that's what a lot of people do, right? I do this a lot. I'll step back and say, oh, I think especially after a meal, so after a real big meal, you're like, man, I think I ate too much. Holy moly. Like, I'm about to bust at the seams here. Oh, you got pumpkin pop? All right, I'm coming. You know what I mean? Like, you take a little bit of a self-reflection of yourself, but at the end of the day, you don't really reflect on it, because you're like, it's kind of like church. It seems like I bring a church thing up every time I do this podcast now. You hate it or you love it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just being me. Hallelujah. But you take a self-reflection after the pastor's sermon on Sundays, don't you? You hear it, maybe you watch it online, or you go to a church somewhere or something, and maybe you don't even go to church, but every now and then you pop something on the TV or something, and it sounds really good, and you step back and, man, yeah, he's 100% right. I really need to get better in that area. And then you just go on about life like nothing ever happened. Like, you're like, oh, all right, well, that was good. That was great. That was fantastic. Let me keep on moving now. Let me do me. It is like, hey, why even self-reflect? Like, why even step back and look at it? Why even go to church? Like, really? All right, I'm going to preach if I don't calm down. The point I'm making is, when you self-reflect on yourself and you know you're doing something, take action on it. Don't self-reflect and say, yeah, I need to get better in that area of my life on eating or being healthy, and then not do nothing about it, because at the end of the day, what's the point of even doing it at that point? Might as well not even self-reflect. But again, if you put in the work beforehand, you want to self-reflect and you want to take action, because you don't want to get back to where you were. The last thing I refuse. I will die before I allow myself to get back to where I was, because I know there is so many haters out there right now saying, he's going to fail. He's not going to make it. He's eventually going to put the weight on. He's eventually going to get to where he was. I see so many people fail. They don't ever keep the weight off. They don't ever do this. They don't ever do that. And I'm just like, nah, that ain't going to be me, first of all. And second of all, most majority of those people don't even know what they're talking about, because the success rate is actually a lot higher than the failing rate. You only ever look at the negative. Maybe if you just worried about yourself, you wouldn't be worried about what I'm doing. Hallelujah. Anyways. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host. Man, C4 has to be the best energy drink out there. I'm probably going to get some hate from somebody like, you should be drinking C4. It's bad for you. It's got artificial sugars in it. Sorry, Dad. I love you. My dad always complains to me about that. He's like, why are you doing that? It's got artificial sugars in it. I'm like, look, bro, I've lost 200 pounds drinking artificial sugars. I'm good. I had 2 last night. Daniel, yeah, man. C4s are the best. 2? Man, I haven't had one of these in like over a week. This is the first time I'm having one in a week, literally. I think, I take it back. I haven't had one of these since the podcast last time. It's been 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks. I don't drink these all the time, but when I do, I get fired up. The first time I ever drank one of these, side note for you guys that are live, you get to hear the side note stuff. Not live, you don't get to hear none of this. So you should come over and watch live. The very first time I drank one of these was in a truck, and literally my skin started crawling. I did not know what was going on. I've never felt the sensation of that before. It was like a pre-workout. I never did pre-workout. I was 400 pounds. What was I doing nothing? I wasn't going to work out, you know what I mean? But I drank one of these because I was tired. And Daniel, I was called. I was like, Daniel, bro, like, dude, like, am I dying? what's in these energy drinks? Like, am I going to fail a drug test from drinking one of these things? Because my skin's crawling. Like, I'm ready to go run through a wall or something right now, bro. And he's like, no, that's just what it does, man. Like, it makes you feel good and ready to go take on the world, run through a car, like, hey, move, get out the way. I'm doing 100 on the highway in a semi truck. If you're doing a speed limit, get out of my way. Keep it family friendly here. But orange slice and pink Starburst, yes, those are really good. I like the frozen bomb slice as well. Bombsicle, yeah. That one's good as well. All right, back on track here. So the last point I want to hit on this is this. The last thing you can do to keep yourself from getting to that point is to not let yourself get too comfortable. Yeah, I know. Like, that's like not very like deep, is it? Like, it's like, well, I mean, well, crap, James. Yeah, I could have figured that out myself, but that's the truth. If we don't tell ourselves that occasionally, we'll allow ourselves to get too comfortable. It's going right back to church. I mean, it's so simple to talk about. It's just, these two things intertwine too much for me not to talk about them. I'm sorry, if you're not I'm not trying to like push my faith upon anybody or anything like that, but it's just, I got too many examples to talk about. COVID, right? When COVID was huge, which is starting to make a comeback, I guess. A lot of churches, a lot of people didn't go to church. A lot of churches closed for the time being, right? Well, we were trying to protect the people. We didn't want people to get sick, this, that, and the other. And then churches opened back up. People got comfortable. Easy. Oh, man, something's come to my mind. I'm trying to make sure I remember it so I can bring it up. They got comfortable staying at home. The bad thing is, I just thinking about this too. There's a lot of people that went to church for years, and it only took them 2 months to get comfortable enough not to go back to church. And what I'm telling you is, you've been doing your bad habits for a very, 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 very long time. How easy is it going to be to slip back into those old bad habits if you allow them to get out of control and get too comfortable? And not take evaluation of yourself and not act upon those evaluations and not do something about it. Do you see what I'm saying? If I always use hot and fresh. If I have a problem eating hot and fresh donuts, and I probably do have a problem since I always bring it up, and I eat them for 30 years. Let's just use 30 years as an example. And then I go 2 years without eating them. But at the 3rd year mark, after not eating them for 2 years, I start introducing them back to my diet and I start getting comfortable in eating them again. How easy is it going to be for me to get comfortable in eating them again and getting out of control with them again? When I did 30 years of eating them, being comfortable, and only 2 years of not eating them and not, you know what I mean? Like fighting that desire and that urge back for 2 years. It kind of goes like this. Hold on. People that are listening, that aren't on YouTube and stuff, they're like, what's going on right now? Yes, I have gym shorts on. It's okay. And you can't see me, but you can see me. It's okay. All right. So it's like this. I'm up here right now. And for you guys that are listening, I'm standing on my weight bench right now. To be honest, this is the most this weight bench has been used this week. If I did all this work, I was trying to oh man, I'm about to break something. We are doing this live, folks. I like it though. I like doing it live. All right, that's as high as I could go. I got this desk and I'm trying to get it higher. All right. I did all this work, right? I put all this work into me getting up here where I'm at. And all the bad habits are underneath me. And I've been treading and walking over them and staying away from them as much as possible, right? Watching where I'm stepping, trying to stay away from them because I know if I step on one or if I get too comfortable with it, I will kind of fall back down there, maybe. And what happens is once you kind of get comfortable enough, maybe you're like, you know what? It's not that bad. I'll just grab one, right? And then I eat that one thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like every now and again, I preach that over here. Like if you want a hot and fresh every now and again, I think it's okay. But if I, the very next day, go, one and 2 days ain't that bad. I pick it up and I eat it. I'm reaching down. I'm reaching down to where I came from to get it every single time, right? And eventually what happens is, instead of me reaching down, I just step down. Because it's more comfortable for me to grab it from down here than it is from up here. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you hear what I'm saying right now? Like, I mean, it's crazy how this stuff comes to me sometimes, because that literally just came to me. Like, it's easier to just be down there on the floor with it and grabbing it when you allow yourself to get to that point and get comfortable enough to be down there than it is to being up here reaching down for it. It's kind of like in the sermons or preached. I always tell people it's easier to be pulled down into a crowd of people that maybe, do things they're not supposed to do than you to pull them up. So when you're treading, when you're trying to reach people and you're trying to do things, you have to be careful that you don't intermingle too much with them. Like, you got to live in the world, but you're not supposed to be of the world. What I'm trying to tell you today is you got to live amongst all this foolishness when it's coming to being healthy and stuff, and all these different foods around you, and all these different pumpkin spice flavors around you, and all these pumpkin donuts and pumpkin muffin. Yes, I'm talking to myself right now. I have to learn to live among them, but not live in them 24/7, right? You're not going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect. I mean, I got to move this out of the way. We're not going to be perfect in our walk. It's just like Christianity. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. Like, I'm living in the world. I'm going to slip and stumble sometimes. And that's okay. I'm living this health thing out amongst all this junk around me. I'm going to slip every now and again, and that's okay. As long as I don't get comfortable in it and allow it to dictate what I'm going to do in my life, it's okay. As long as I take self-reflection of myself at the end of the day and act upon that self-reflection and be honest with my eating habits and be honest with my health and be honest about getting up and taking a walk outside, it's okay. So if you are new to this journey and you have bad habits that you're comfortable in right now, I encourage you to work on those. This is coming a little sneak peek of a podcast to come, to be honest with you. I'm starting to do the notes and stuff on it now, but one of them is like, it's going to be like a list of things to do before surgery. And bad habits is one of them. And what I want you to do is, sneak peek for you that are live, or I might put in a regular podcast too, is I don't want you to try to lose weight before surgery. I'm sorry, what did you just say, James? Yeah, I don't want you to try to lose weight before surgery. I know it's weird, ain't it, that I say something like that? What I want you to do is work on your habits before surgery. I want you to take in a reflection of yourself and work on your habits before surgery. Because if you work on your habits, you're going to lose weight anyways. You see how that works out? Yeah, I don't want you to worry about the scale, but I want you to worry about your habits, because at the end of the day, your habits are more important than the scale. Because if you get a handle on your habits, then the scale is going to go down. It's like working hourly. If I work more hours, I'll make more money. horrible, horrible, horrible comparison, wasn't it? Anyways, you know what I'm saying. So that, I got a big list of things that I'm going over that I'm going to get together for that podcast. But I thought that just kind of fit well, because if you stay comfortable before surgery, then you're going to be comfortable after surgery. And like I said last time on the podcast, surgery is not the solution. It's only a tool to help you succeed amongst your journey. It's pretty good. So with all that being said and everything, what I want you to do is today, whenever you're listening to this, two things. First thing is I want you to evaluate. I want you to honestly step back and say, am I where I'm supposed to be in my journey? If you're just starting out in your journey, if you're thinking about getting surgery and stuff, the very first thing I want you to do is evaluate your habits. And I want you to see what you can do to get a handle on them. Again, remember, my motto over here is 1% rule, right? Just get 1% better on anything you're working on in life. You will eventually get to where you need to be. If you've already been on this journey for a long time and you maybe are slipping, maybe you've stepped on the scale and you've seen the scale going the opposite way. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to actually evaluate yourself, see where you've gotten too comfortable, see where you've stepped down into that comfort at, and then learn to pick yourself back up and get back on that weight bench that I was standing on earlier. It's never too late to get healthy. It's never too late to get to a point where you're happy with yourself. But regardless if you take the surgery route or do it the other way, it's still going to take hard work to succeed. Biggest thing people think is, surgery is going to, I don't have to do nothing if I get the surgery. Yes and no, because you will lose some weight because, like I said, it's impossible not to. But if you don't take care of those habits and take care of those comfortable things in your life, you're just going to put the weight back on and you went through this journey for absolutely nothing. And I don't want to see that for you. So trust the process, put in the work, leave a 5-star review if you listen to a podcast over on Apple. Leave a comment below if you're unsubscribed, or if you're and leave a comment below if you're on YouTube and like the video to help the algorithm out. If you guys are looking for ways to support me, honestly, that's the best way to support me. You can come over here on Facebook, watch me live. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next live podcast or around. Maybe you'll see me on the street somewhere and we can talk in person. See you guys later. Love you guys. Pew.